Well, as it is said, every day is a new beginning. Treat it that way. Stay away from what might have been and look at what can be. With this positive note, I am delighted once again to be emcee of the momentous occasion, and I believe it's my good fortune that on behalf of Kyar Mangalam University, I am thrilled to welcome one and all. Today, our incredible journey of growth, learning, and collaboration will continue. This FDP has been meticulously designed to empower and equip the faculty members pan India with the latest tools, techniques, and knowledge to excel in their roles as educators. Today, we have gathered here, and let us remember that lifelong learning is a charming endeavor. As educators, we play a crucial role in shaping the future of our students and ultimately our society. So, as Nelson Mandela quoted, the destiny of the nation is built in the classroom. So, I believe with this motto, the Faculty Development Program will present an invaluable opportunity to expand our horizons and to share the best practices that will undoubtedly elevate our respective institutions to newer heights. I encourage each and every one of you to actively participate, ask questions during the question and answer round, and engage in meaningful discussions throughout the program. Let us embrace this experience with an open mind and a thirst of knowledge, as it is through collaboration and exchange of ideas we will find most meaningful and significant breakthroughs. We shall be starting the day with the address of our invited guest, Professor Rohit Dutt, Vice President, Northern Region, Association of Pharmaceutical Teachers of India, followed by the first session by the resource person, Professor Jaswinder Singh, Principal, Shri Guru Tej Bahadur Khalsa College, University of Delhi, followed by the second session of the day by Shri Janaki Raman S. He is the ex-director, Pfizer. The feedback link of day 3 will be shared during the last session of the day, and I request all the participants to kindly fill and submit the same. So, without further ado, let us embark on this exciting journey of learning and growing together. I request my fellow colleague, Dr. Swati, to please introduce Professor Rohit Dutt to the gathering. Madam, please. Dr. Swati? Well, as I think, because today we are working from our institute.
Sorry
Yes,
for the
madam.
delay, ma'am. Actually, because of the internet issues, I would like to welcome Dr. Professor Rohit Dutt. Sir is a very versatile educationalist and admirable administrator, a confident leader, and a motivated and influential personality with more than 19 years of experience in academics and research. Dr. Rohit is presently working as principal GMN College, Ambala, Kent. As a member of the college senior management team, he has developed a comprehensive strategy for improving and refining the student learning experience through clinical engagements with leading healthcare organizations. Sir has a belief that he can promote a strong and positive environment of scholarly learning for both students and faculty to iron out all the challenges associated with fourth industrial revolution and outshine in the glory of knowledge. And he is instrumental in developing new policies to improve academic structure at GD Goenka University, keeping in view of NEP 2020. And I hope he will be doing the same in the new university he has joined. Professionally, Sir is a medicinal chemist with expertise in CAD, that is computer aided drug design. He is a certified He has done PhD in pharmaceutical sciences from MD University Rohtak and MPharm in pharmacochemistry from GJ University Hisar. He is an alumnus of SGGRITS Dehradun at graduate level. He has 16 years of teaching experience and 1.5 years of industrial experience in Ranbaxy Lab Limited. He has his expertise in the computer-aided drug design field enabled him to conduct research in areas of very diverse natures. His research areas include lead identification and optimization, chemical computation, structural activity property relationship, pharmaceutical quality control, pharmaceutical technology and biotechnology, and presently he is pursuing research in the field of anti-cancer drug development from natural sources. His expertise is simply recognized by the fact that he is acting as a referee for review of manuscripts for large number of international journals of reputed, and some of the mathematical tools developed by him for drug design have been incorporated in leading software being marketed by various multinational companies. He has more than 70 research or review publications, most of them in international journals of repute to his credit, in addition to 3 books with international publishers. He has a sound understanding and rich experience for working for the accreditation by NAC and NBA and other regulators like AICTE, PCI, etc. He has been involved in 2 consultancy projects, namely Tuning India and Rachel by University of Deuceto, Spain, found by European Union Erasmus Plus program. He is certified auditor for accreditation of labs by NABL. He had also he had also been honored with APTI Best Young Pharmacy Teacher of the Year award in 2015 and Nirali Prakashan in 2019, and the Teaching Excellence Award 2021 by ASMA for his excellent contribution in the field of pharmacy education. Dr. Dutt has also been awarded with prestigious silver medal by His Excellency Honorable Governor of Haryana in recognition to his PhD research work. He is also conferred with honorary professor diploma in recognition of academic and professional excellence by Bukhara State Medical Institute, Uzbekistan 2020. He is actively involved in dissemination of scientific knowledge for well-being of society at large with a view to contribute towards a common mission, that is Swasth Bharat. In recognition to services rendered for the benefit of the mankind, Dr. Dutt was also honored with Atal Swasthya Bhushan Award 2019 by Severon Foundation. He has delivered more than 100 guest talks on various topics of healthcare domain and organized healthcare camps in rural areas in Delhi NCR. So with this, I welcome Dr. Dutt to deliver a very nice lecture on the topic he has decided. I welcome you, sir. Please.
Thank you, for your generous introduction. I'm hopeful that I'm audible to all. Am I audible to all, ma'am?
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So first of all, I wish to congratulate the leadership of KR Mangalam, which is led by Dr. Hema Chaudhary, Dean SMAS at KR Mangalam University, and the collaborating partner Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center of MHRD, SGB TV, Khalsa College, University of Delhi, and Association of Pharmaceutical Teachers of India for organizing this 1-week online faculty development program on a very important topic. I think the topic, I must congratulate the organizers for looking for this nice topic, which is of current interest for the entire higher education system in India, which is initiative for fostering quality higher education in India in 21st century. So everybody is aware that NAP has been implemented and it has been debated since last 1 year at many conferences. Workshop has been conducted by UGC and different regulatory authorities. So obviously NAP is a big challenge for the higher education system, and the vision of NEP is to make the students employable rather than they are seeking for job. They should be job creator itself. So the whole purpose of higher education is to empower these students right now with this skill set, mindset kind of a thing. And still we are being, if you talk about pharmacy profession, still the NEP is a big question in pharmacy, because the regulator Pharmacy Council of India, they need to take last step to implement such kind of policy into the pharmacy education and revise the syllabi and the other content as per the merits of NEP. But I think it's way to go, because we all have run, all have seen in the past decades how the outcomes are coming out. Still, there are, if you talk about drug discovery, there are you need to develop a drug, you need 16 to 20 years to develop a drug with $1 billion investment. And there are so many diseases not there. But if you wait for a disease for then this mutation and again resistance about the drug is again a big problem. So we need to think together that let's make a kind of a thing. And like some research groups, the chemistry people, the other bioinformatics people, that joining head with the pharmacy people, and we are coming out this solution in a span of 3 to 4 years to develop it. That is the only thing to tackle a pandemic like 19. We all have seen, we all have faced the era of COVID-19. Without vaccination, I think everybody has what kind of situation was there in India. But COVID-19 given us a clear message that yes, you need to think about drug discovery process. Seriously think about the process. I was talking about when India has produced so many vaccines, and it has been exported to the different countries. They have the potential, different countries have seen the potential, and Harvard has seen the potential, and Narendra Modi has said pharmacy of the world. India is the pharmacy of the world. So it's a big motivation for pharmacy education, and government is making some policies for infusing research into the university system. If we talk about higher education system, government is seriously thinking about that university should concentrate on research rather than giving affiliation, or the teachers are busy in some routine examination duties or other tasks, because the teachers which have been selected at the highest level, the universities, at government university, they must devote their knowledge for research purpose only. So the government is thinking in this way, and they are empowering university that you should look for research, and the affiliated college may be given the autonomy after a certain kind of grading, either NAC or NRF, and the college will be given a status of autonomy. So changes are happening, and as a teacher, we need to empower ourselves that yes, what we have learned 20 years back or 10 years back may not be sufficient for the student to deliver knowledge of current interest. So teacher need to empower themselves also with the current concepts. Like humanity has witnessed different era of industrialization. If we talk about the first era of industrialization, that belongs to mechanical electricity and assembly lines around 1760 to 1840, and then followed by a second era of industrialization where the mass production of electricity was done, and third era belong to computers, semiconductors, mainframe of industrial revolution. And I would like to quote you some example. Will give you an idea about the pace of technology, how the technology is changing. First, we haven't heard about iPhone, iPad, Kindle, 4G, Android, Instagram, Snapchat, WhatsApp till 2006. And see, after a decade or 2 decades, these applications is a part of our lives. And precisely, these are the meals of our life. I'm telling you, it's a part of meal these days. These are e-meals, and we are more concentrating on these meals rather than going for the normal veg meals. Second, there is example that time taken by some of the essentialities like telephone, simple telephone. The telephone has taken 75 years time to reach to 100 million customers, and web has taken only 4 years to reach to 100 million customers. Facebook has taken again 4 years to reach 100 million customers. Instagram only 2 years, and the famous TikTok Chinese app has taken only 3 months to reach 100 million people. Pokemon Go, another app, only 1 month to reach 100 million customers. So, and luckily the Aragya Setu app during the COVID-19, it has taken only 13 days to reach 15 million people. So you see that how the transformation, how the pace is happening, and adaptability of these apps. People are more familiar, they are more comfortable with these apps. So there is the urgency to learn some new things. The word you have listened so many times, artificial intelligence. This is a new normal now, artificial intelligence. Since morning to evening, we are in a grab of artificial intelligence gadgets, and so we haven't heard about artificial intelligence. We don't have any, I think, course in artificial intelligence in pharmacy education 10 years back. So how the teachers are going to teach these subjects or make such kind of app with AI applications? So we need to unlearn and relearn irrespective of our domains. So this is an era where which is characterized by automation of all kinds of tasks and artificial intelligence in all spheres of living, robots, and you have heard about robotic surgeries also. These days, AIMS has a nice setup of robotic surgery, and pharmacist is helping out that doctor during the surgeries also with the robotic. So as a hospital pharmacy, you need to empower yourself with such kind of gadgets also. So I think we should restrict our talk to discussion to the teachers itself. So we need to in my view, we need to redefine the purpose of education. The purpose of education is not to do something, but rather than we should plan for a specific something, a particular something. We should have an aim into mind that what kind of students you are going to develop in your class and what kind of capacity an institution is having. So we can take a responsibility and we can empower our students with that particular domain. So we need to second foremost thing, the teacher need to look for that. They need to adapt the lifelong learning models. Once you have completed your master's or you have completed your PhD, we are not habitual of reading books often. We are not habitual of reading the current articles, what is going on in the market. So you need to be a good learner also, because if you want to deliver excellent knowledge to the students itself, obviously you need to adapt to lifelong learning skills, and you need to inculcate this habit into students also. The only way to do this is that you need to motivate your student to participate in quizzes and such workshops of current interest, so that they learn so many things apart from doing the routine teaching in the classroom. So it has been a famous book was there, Future Shock, where Alvin Toffler wrote that the illiterate of 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. So I think we need to adapt the lifelong learning models as a teacher. And the next thing which the teacher can do, that we can alter our teaching learning methods also. You need, although you have the sufficient knowledge, but the delivery of knowledge is also important. Dissemination of knowledge is also important. You must reach to each and everybody in the classroom. So obviously there are mixed students of different domains, diverse locations, and they must have studied some different schools. So a mixed bag of students is there in your classroom, and you need to teach each and every student, and you need to reach to each and every student with the same pace and same expertise. So you need to adopt different methods. There are so many methods which you can adopt while you're teaching learning. And I think after COVID-19, there are so many online applications are there. You can look for Moodle, Clouds, ERP system, Genomio.com, Sky, Canvas. These are normal. these days these names are normal. We need to acclimatize ourselves with these learning management software, and we need to use as much as possible. And so many applications are free to use. You need not to spend a huge money on these ERP software, but you need to empower students to learn these application, give assignment to through these apps, ERP software, and tell students to analyze their results also. So such kind of a things we can do in an assignment kind of a thing, rather than giving assignment on a topic which has been covered in your normal sessional or final examination. It's always better to give assignment which can test the mindset of a student rather than giving a theoretical assignment. So we, as a teacher, we are going to, we need to empower ourselves first, and with these techniques, and then disseminate the same to the students through different modes, because that is the only way to make student interested in the classroom. We all have sense that we are not talking about the good institution, but largely private institutions are lacking, that students are not attending the classes, not coming to the colleges, and if they are coming to the colleges, their interest is not in the classroom. So such kind of an environment where the quizzes are there, or some unique competitions are there in the classroom, the student will be interested in the classroom, and I think it will be a good one, teaching learning environment in the college itself. So another thing, every teacher we can look into as a quality parameter in higher education, that make your classroom or a college as a maker spaces. This can help you to equip children with the love of learning, that would allow them to make sense of their what means. You need to give them some assignment which can, by which you can check their curiosity, their problem solving power, their analytical skills. Give them a free hand to do anything. A simple example I can quote you, that if you are doing a practical, you have been assigned 10 practicals by Pharmacy Council of India in a particular subject. You give the student, everybody is doing those 10 practicals, but tell them to do tell them to develop some 2 practicals at their own level, with the help of the teacher itself, with the help of the facilities available in the college, so that these 2 practicals will be designed by the student, and 10 practicals has been assigned by the uh, Pharmacy Council of India or other regulators. So there is a concept of assign and design. So that will test their curiosity. That will make them think that yes, a new thing needs to be developed, and they will work into it. They will try to develop a new practical. They will apply their mind, and obviously that mind of teacher will also be applied when students is asking so many questions for such kind of a practice. So teacher need to adopt such activities also. So I think these are the important points, which are the quality parameters, and where the higher education can be improved. Obviously, all depends upon the teacher itself. If the teacher is teaching good and academic environment good, obviously the outcome will be good, and student will come out with the flying colors, and the outcome will be there. So apart from this, I am National Vice President of APTI, which is an association which has been looking after the welfare of teaching at large. And still there are apprehensions about the role of APTI, and we understand our feedback also, but we are working very hard under the leadership of our APTI President, Dr. Milind Umbrekar, and the team of Vice Presidents. So we are listening to teachers time and again. There is a grievance portal also where these teachers can put their request, and if it's a justified request, then obviously the entire APTI is with the teacher to help them out. And we are also empowering teachers with new concepts, and we have offered some of the faculty development program at a very subsidized rate through the portal of APTI, and such kind of activities we are doing. We are in a process of finalizing a land for developing a faculty development center at Bengaluru, so that these new concepts, everybody cannot attend workshops or some or other things on the topics of current interest. So the faculty development center will help the teachers. They can come anytime and they can attend the workshop. Whole year these workshop and lectures will go on, and teachers can take benefit of those things. With the APTI membership, you can always attend those workshops at subsidized rate. And lastly, I wish to share one more thing, that APTI is organizing this annual event conclave at Kanpur, PSIT Kanpur on 2nd and 3rd September. So I request all the teachers and the student PhD scholars should come there, and there are plethora of activities are going on, and so many resource persons are coming up from pharmacy field. So make full use of that conference. It's a conference for the teachers, by the teachers. So with these words, I conclude my talk and open the house for any questions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Rohit sir. We have taken your message very well. And I believe that we have started the journey, which is though 1,000 miles away, but definitely we have taken the first step. So thank you so much for having addressed. And sir, as a token of gratitude for your valuable presence, we wish to offer you a virtual memento. So kindly accept it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Well, proceeding with the first session of the day, I'm profusely elated to welcome the resource person, Professor Jaswinder Singh, sir. I request Dr. Swati to kindly introduce Dr. Jaswinder Singh, sir, to the gathering. Dr. Swati.
Thank you, ma'am. Sorry for the disturbance. So, without taking much of your time, I would like to welcome.
Madam,
Professor
come close
Dr.
to the mic.
Singh.
Your voice is not coming clear. Come close to the mic, please.
Principal Sri Angad Tegh Bahadur Khalsa College, University of Delhi. Director Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center, established under Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission on Teacher and Training 2016 by the Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India at Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Khalsa College, University of Delhi. Also Executive Director of Center for E-Learning, established in 2014 under the UGC EPG Pathshala project to develop e-content for postgraduate courses in economics, commerce, business economics, psychology, chemistry, and forensic sciences at Guru Tegh Bahadur Khalsa College, University of Delhi. He has also been principal in charge of National Resource Center Chemistry for HRD at SGTB Khalsa College. Sir, just a minute. Thank Jaswinder sir for agreeing to be a part of the event and for sharing this knowledge with all of us. Sir has been the part of UGC Advisory Committee as the UGC nominee and also convener of courses for drafting courses in economics of sessions 2016 to 2023. He has also been a member of the UGC Committee for drafting online courses guidelines. But has also been active member of University Court for University for designing different courses and implementing them. He has also been a member of the Academic Council of University of Delhi in 1994 to 98, and also a member of the Executive Council and Professional Body of IB Singh Sahitya New Delhi since 2014. In University of Delhi, he has been the member of International Advisory Board, member of Standing Committee Students of Academic Council, University of Delhi, member of University Inspection Team, and a member of Central Admission Advisory Committee of Delhi University from 1995-96 to and 1997-98 and later 2003-2005. He has also been the member of Admission Committee for Law Courses, Department of Law, University of Delhi from 1995 to 1999. Actually, the list has been so long that it was very difficult for me to summarize all of his achievements and contributions to the education field. So, sir, there will be any mistakes, please excuse me, because it will be like junior and please tell me about any mistake they have been done from my side. And sir has been active member and contributed to the science field as he has published a lot of book chapters and has been a part of research projects and publications daily. So I welcome, without taking much of all of us time and prestigious time, I would like to invite sir on the podium for his words.
I believe sir is not in the meeting. Hope you can hear us. Jasinder
Yeah,
sir, good
ma'am.
morning.
Yeah. Good morning. Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Somewhere something went wrong with the internet.
Yes, sir.
Should I start?
Sir, we have given you the rights to share your screen.
Yeah. Yeah, we will do that. First of all, let me express my gratitude to K.R. Mangalam University and the entire team who is organizing, this very important faculty development program in association with one of our centers here at Khalsa College and University of Delhi. That is the Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center. I'm grateful to the faculty members and all the coordinators, especially the Vice Chancellor of K.R. Mangalam University, Professor Dubey, Dr. Hema Chaudhary ji, and the other teachers who have made this very special effort. I think as far as the pharmaceutical academics are concerned, we are organizing for the first time with such a professional organization. And I'm sure, we will learn from each other in a number of ways. And that is also the, issue in the national education policy. The topic that I think I have been given is, let me view this is the initiative for fostering quality higher education in India. I will speak on this topic, but I will emphasize the role of the teachers in this. Let me share my screen if you permit me. I do not know how have you placed me there, but I think I should be able to do something.
So you just have to go to your share
Yeah, I'm doing
screen
that.
and yes, sir.
Yeah, this is. Just let this be. Can you see the screen, please?
Yes, sir, we can witness it.
Okay, fine. Now, the topic that is the fostering quality in the higher education. If you look at, some of the parameters of the new education policy or the various components pertaining to higher education, the whole emphasis is on to bring the barriers between different academic institutions.
Sir, sorry to disturb you. The presentation is not opened. We are only able to screen the PPT hasn't opened.
PPT has not been opened. Okay,
Yes,
let me try it again. Can you see it now, please?
Oh, yes, sir. Now we can see it.
Okay.
Just we need to take it in the full screen mode, sir.
Yeah. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir. We can see it now.
Okay. You see the topic that I shall be covering primarily is, everybody is emphasizing the role of quality in higher education, and we have seen that the major initiatives in the national education policy are to break the barriers between the various institutions of higher education. And this they have done in a number of ways. First, that within, let us say, a particular educational institutions, we had very tight controls and, the discipline-centered education, and the role of multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary education has been emphasized. That is one part. And the second is that every educational institution, just let me close my door because yeah. So the first, of course, is the issue of how we can bring about the relationships, how we can revive the relationships between various disciplines. And of course, the second is that every education institution is supposed to be the teaching and research institution. So in that sense, when we say that research and teaching, then perhaps the role of the teacher is very, very important in this. First, before proceeding with my slides, let me, emphasize something which is mentioned in, every educational institution is going to have the NAAC evaluation, and also, every educational institution will have to go the process of the National Institution of Ranking Framework. So these are primarily, the institutions which will ensure quality in the higher education. And if you look at the parameters of these frameworks, first, let me go through the National Institute of Ranking Framework. If you look at the National Institute of, can you see this, please, ma'am? Hello? Can you see this slide?
So no, we are not able to see the screen. We are just, you're visible, sir, but the screen is not.
Okay, just let me just again start this. Just a minute.
I think you can please try the share screen again, sir.
Is it visible now?
We can't see the slides. You are visible, sir, but not the screen.
Okay. Is it visible now?
Yes.
Now you see.
Sir, now we can see.
Okay. Now you see, if you look at the National Institute of Ranking Framework Guidelines 2023, the metrics which have been emphasized in this, these are primarily the same. But if we look at all these issues, we will find that some or the other, the role of the teachers is very, very crucial in this. Let us look at these 5 important components: the teaching, learning and resources, research and professional practices, graduation outcomes, outreach and inclusivity, and perception. Is it visible, ma'am?
Yes, sir, we can see the screen.
Okay. Now you can see the various weightages which have been given to this. The teaching, learning and resources, 100 marks, but weightage is 30. Research and professional practice, 30. graduation outcomes 20, outreach and inclusivity 10, and then perception about the public about your institution is 10% weightage. So these are very important things. Apart from the infrastructure that the management or the university is supposed to set up. I think if we look at this, the role of teaching and setting up Hanji, can you
Yes, sir, we
hear
can
me?
see
Okay.
big screens, sir, not a.
Okay. No, you see, if we look at these various components, the University Grants Commission and the Ministry of Education have been emphasizing whether this is the NAAC framework, we call this as to be the National Assessment and Accreditation Council. Whenever we go for them, there are two more parameters in this. But primarily, as far as the teaching part is concerned, teaching and research is concerned, you can see that how important it is for any institution that if it wants to ensure, the quality, if it wants to produce quality students, then all these quantitatively accessible, parameters have to be ensured. So whether you talk about the teaching, which has 30% weightage, and the research and teaching completely, you can see that it is the 60%. And the outreach, of course, this depends upon the perception of the management and the policies of the concerned university and the colleges. And then the perception about the public. Public perception will build up if we can ensure, the graduation outcomes, which is parameter third. So, in itself, 80% of broadly, the perception or the ranking of the institution or its quality assurance is through this. So I think building up the teaching and the research parameters or the infrastructure is very, very crucial in any education institution. So, and in this, I will not be going into details of these, but the teaching and learning resources, for instance, it includes, the various types of students, the students' strength, including the doctoral studies, faculty-student ratio, which is very important. If you look at the present scenario, even in the public funded institutions, the faculty-student ratio is very low. That means the number of the faculty members compared to the students are much lesser than what it has been emphasized by the UGC, which is 1:19. Combined weighting for faculty with PhD, you can look at that it is not only merely the faculty which is there, but their research, how many of them are PhD and what kind of research they are doing. Financial resources and their utilization, which is again a part of this, and the online education, the completion of syllabi, exams and SWAM, the use of the other platforms which are there. So teaching, learning and utilization of the available resources, developing these resources, both as teachers as well as the resources which can be accessible by your own students and by others also. This is very important, and this can only be possible if, we can ensure the proper training of the teachers, if we can recruit good quality teachers and also retain them in our educational institutions. The second, of course, is the research and professional ethics, which, all of us know that how important it is becoming, not only the amount of publications that we have, but also, the quality of publications, where do we publish them, the Scopus Index, or the web publications. All these are very important aspects. IPR and patents, the plagiarism and other issues. Apart from that, how many patents you have, what kind of intellectual property resources you have developed in your own institution. All these are very important things. And the graduate outcomes are again, very important. Graduate outcomes in terms of, the university examinations. the metric for number of PhD students graduated, all these are measurable, all these are the, quantifiable parameters which we can see, and which of course, in one way or the other, emphasize the roles of the researchers and the teachers in any educational institution. Outreach, how many students do we take from other classes from different social strata, economically weaker sections? How many students are there? The percentage of the women students, socially and economically challenged students. So, and also, the facilities that we have for physically challenged students. So perception again, academic peers and employers, how do they think about the kind of courses that we are running? So all these are the various things which I will not go into the details of this. I will come to my main discussion, which I will share with you. Yeah. No, you see, how we can motivate the teachers, how we can energize the teachers, that I think will automatically, if we can create congenial conditions for the faculty, and also provide them requisite infrastructure in terms of the classroom engagement, and also in terms of, the research in the individual profession, that will ensure the quality in the higher education. So recruitment and career progression, of course, is very important. We know that it is not only the recruitment. If we really want to retain the good teachers, apart from giving them good salary, we have to give them the career progression also. Otherwise, they will lose interest and they go away to other institutions. And this is much more a severe issue, especially in the private institutions. Equitable representation from the various groups in hiring of faculty, this is equitable representation does not mean only the social groups. These days, the UGC and the National Education Policy has also talked about engaging the international faculty. So we have to see that, and there are some universities in India which have started this practice of taking the faculty from abroad, so that they can attract the students, and also they can, motivate our own internal faculty to do combined teaching and research. Compensation levels, of course, these are very important, and professional development opportunities. No teacher will like to be constrained if, the research facilities are not there. So for the individual professional development, I think congenial atmosphere, both in terms of teaching and complementary research infrastructure, has to be there. And this is what has been emphasized in the National Education Policy in the higher education sector. Now, as far as these issues are concerned, the National Education Policy broadly, talks about these recommended steps in which have been recommended. I have just summarized some of them, and you can go into that, but we can come to this little later. Let me go to the next slide. What is the role of the teacher here? The role of the teacher is not only the classroom engagement. The role of the teacher is both, of course, the teaching they are supposed to do, but at the same time, they are also helping in terms of the administration, in terms of the academic administration, in terms of the financial management of the institution, and also in terms of engaging the students, bringing the good quality students to your own institution. Now, for instance, the ranking and other things which we were just talking about, they attract the students, the public perception about your institution. But this role, this public perception and other things, they are very critically aligned to the roles of the teachers, that what kind of role the teachers are playing and running their own institution. So I think this is very crucial. Sometimes it is thought that it is the administration is left to the private managements or the higher rankings. This may not be true, because the day-to-day engagement of the teachers is left to the of the students, is with the students and with the teachers, and they know what are the difficulties the students are facing. So it is very crucial that we involve the teachers effectively in this, and the research and publications, of course, is an important thing which we look into this. Then, to achieve the goals of education, what are the prerequisites for instance, the good human being, responsible Indian citizen, and competent professional. On all these fronts, if we expect our students to perform well, so our education should have adequate provisions for the overall development of the individuals. It is not only the classroom or the instructive teaching. It is the overall development which is responsible. And for this, I think not only the subject teachers, but teachers from other institutions, the career counselors, the soft skills, all these are the important things which I think the institution has to provide towards students. Of course, the challenges and the hallmark of any institution or any education system is to bring about changes with the change in time. The requirement of education 30 years ago were different when we were being monitored by the National Education Policy 1986. Now the National Education Policy 2020 has brought about many changes. And of course, the attempt is to bring the education system, the higher education system, in tune with the requirements of the changing society. So this is a very important aspect. And we know that earlier, we were doing more of a teacher-centric education, and the new education policy has emphasized, apart from the core teaching in our core disciplines, we need to have interdisciplinary courses and also the skill courses which make the student proficient, and when they go and they become employable. And not only this, a lot of value education has also been emphasized in the new education policy. So higher education system is, we know that in the new education policy, many changes have been brought in. Components of education in the teaching learning, we know that when we are dealing with the students, when we are dealing with the institutions, we need to have a properly defined syllabus. And then this syllabus has to have proper congenial atmosphere for teaching and learning. And apart from the teaching and learning, this is the assessment. And all these components, they need proper participation of the teachers. The syllabi is not formed by the non-academics. Syllabi is prepared by the teachers who are teaching those courses, the experts who are working in those areas. And then, compatible with that, we need to develop the teaching and learning processes in the colleges. Earlier, the chalk and board method is, we know that many of us know that this is outdated now. We can still use it, but at the same time, the pedagogical requirements, the different pedagogies that we use, they require different ICT tools, they require different methods of teaching. So therefore, we have to evolve with this. And I think in this, the teachers need to be trained. The teachers need to undergo training continuously so that they can match up with the requirements of the new syllabi. And then the assessment tools. It is not only the teaching, it is the type of assessment that we are doing. And traditionally, it was the end of the semester or the end of the term examinations, but now, the continuous assessment has been emphasized, and assessments not only of our main disciplines, the core subjects, but assessment of the aligned and the skill courses also is there. So this is very important, and this assessment requires a full-fledged discussion, full-fledged lecture on that, and there are various assessment tools which are being worked out. Now, we have been doing empowering the teachers in terms of using the ICT tools, and our experience during the last 10 to 12 years shows that the ICT can help the teachers in a number of ways. Especially, we know that the ICT first, it empowers the teachers to disseminate their knowledge in a much more convenient way. They can come prepared with their lectures, they can share them before coming to the class, and they can use the same practices, in the class, which later on the students, it becomes easy for the students to use. So these are the various components: ICT enabled research and creation of digital resources, ICT enabled administrative roles, online continuous professional development, the professional development in terms of the faculty development program that we are having, or maybe some refresher programs or orientation programs. All these are the various things that we can do. Curriculum and content development methodology, pedagogy for virtual learners. You can, these days it is becoming very common to use either the flipped classrooms or, the blended learning, for instance, that we can share something with the students, and then the teachers can start the discussion and mentor the students, or, monitor the discussions within that. So it becomes much more healthier. And in fact, it is becoming quite popular in some of the universities, even in the public funded institutions. For instance, in the University of Delhi, many of us are using these tools, and we are, sharing also our resources with the students. SWAM portal is one example where the teachers and the students both can access the pre-prepared content, and they can use it in their classrooms also. Assessments, as I said, that these can be, when we are teaching, it can be a formative assessment, and then if you want to assess them, it can be summative also, where the teachers can suggest many improvement to the students. So this is both online and offline. This is part of our assessment things. Now, MOOCs, for instance, where our group has been working continuously, the massive online open courses. We, in fact, started this process when SWAM portal was launched, and we contributed very significantly in 6 subjects, in economics, business economics, chemistry, forensic science, and psychology. These were the subjects in which our group contributed, but unfortunately, many of the universities, including University of Delhi, has not encouraged the use of these resources by the students. I don't think we have any program where the students can complete their courses online, and that assessment can be embedded. Whereas the National Education Policy has recommended that up to 40% the higher education institutions can have access to the the online courses. This, of course, is important in the sense that it is up to the university to select the courses which may not be locally available, or where perhaps even if available, some of the best teachers, best minds have produced these courses. So for the sake of that, they can use this as a reference material also, if not formally recommended as a full course. So these are very important e-content resources in the form of MOOCs, which are available. Now, as I said that as per the Gazette notification, Government of India, any student can enroll up to 20% of the courses per semester through the MOOCs platform. And these can be completed through SWAYAM or perhaps some other platform also the government is allowing, maybe the Coursera or Harvard University. So all these issues may be there. So UGC regulations 2018, they also say that some of our higher education institutions, they can start these MOOCs. And I'm sure, you know, many of the universities which are coming up, they can, you know, have these online courses, which may be very important. For instance, the professional courses are not available. Not many of them are available in the universities, even though the universities are trying under the national education policy to have them, but not many of them have developed so far this. Now, who are the institutions? Which are the institutions which can run these courses? Now, as per the Gazette, this Gazette notification, all those institutions which are existing for more than 5 years and has a NAAC score of more than 3.26, or the NIRF ranking in the top 100 in the last 3 years, you know, they can design these courses and they can run, provided they have the degree awarding powers. So colleges, since they do not have the degree awarding powers, the colleges through the universities, they can initiate these courses. But the universities, for instance, which have this ranking or which have this NIRF, you know, NAAC score or NIRF ranking in the first 100, they can start these courses. So I was discussing about the ICT empowered. We know that I don't need to emphasize much on this because many of us are using, in fact, this blended mode, the online, the blended and the class time, when we can combine these two. And this is what is known as the blended learning. In addition to the traditional classroom teaching, we can have the flipped classrooms also, where the students and the teachers can be engaged, and the time can be used very, very effectively. From teacher-centric to learning-centric and outcome-based education, you know, all these issues were very thoroughly discussed in the National Education Policy. And even before the National Education Policy 2020 was adopted, from 2015 onwards, when the choice-based credit system was adopted by the University Grants Commission, it was thought that we should change the focus of the higher education teaching and learning process. It should not be teacher-centric. Earlier, you know, teacher-centric, that the teacher comes to the class, he delivers the lecture and he goes back. There is hardly any time for the discussion, even though some of the institutions had the tutorial classrooms, but they were not being very effectively utilized for the purpose they were created. Now, you know, from this, when we say that the outcome-based education or the learning outcome-based education or the choice-based credit system, we emphasize the role of the students. What is that the student wants to learn? What is that the student should learn in a particular course? So, you know, the course objectives, and then, you know, the subject objectives in a particular paper, you know, what we want to teach the students or what he wants to learn from that. So those issues are emphasized, and through the assessment at each stage, we should ensure that whatever the objectives, these are properly translated into his or her learning. So this is the student-centric learning, which is, or the learner-centric learning, which has been emphasized in this. So tech-savvy teachers or the news-savvy teachers, you know, they can, in fact, the teaching becomes very pleasurable. The teaching becomes much more easier. And also, the standards of the teaching through upgradation of the tools by using the ICT tools and other methods, we can enrich our content. And I think the ICT technology helps us in this process. Basic ICT skills are the properly formatted document, multimedia enriched presentation. That means in addition to our normal lectures, we emphasize the multimedia tools also. When we convert our the static content using animations or videos, that becomes the multimedia enriched model. And we can use the spreadsheets and other graphics that we have our skills, which we can learn through the ICT skills. So all these are very important. So and these are becoming very important tools both at the school level and also in the higher education institutions. The teachers can play a very significant role. It is not only the development of the MOOCs, I think it is the sharing of the knowledge. And these days, even though the MOOCs were developed with a particular purpose, that the institutions which cannot offer some courses, they can ask their students to complete the courses through the online MOOCs. But these days, the MOOCs and other e-content platforms have become very useful, depositories of good content. Now, even Harvard and Coursera, if you access their courses, if you see them, many of them are in the freeware. And if you feel that something is to be incorporated from them, you can, with of course, the justification and with of course acknowledgement, we can incorporate some of these things into our own courses. And similarly, we can share the students, they also can access this. And if the teacher is playing a proper role in the classroom, sharing these resources, the students can learn very, very significantly from them. So it is not only the development and putting up the e-content or good content in a particular platform. It is the accessibility and the sharing of the resources which is important. E-content, as we know that it is defined as the multimedia content. So it is not much. The static content plus multimedia enrichment is equal to the e-content. Static content primarily means the text that we write, the images and other things, and multimedia, audio, video, visuals, animation, all these. And when these we combine them and make our lectures very dynamic, this becomes the e-content. There are various, agencies. The UGC gave this responsibility to, the various institutions. For instance, the management courses were given to IIMs, and the undergraduate courses were given to the undergraduate colleges and the postgraduate colleges. The engineering courses are being designed by the IITs in the form of NPTEL platform. So I think the national education policy also opens up a lot of opportunities to go across institutions to share the resources. And in this, the role of the teacher is very important. Teacher has to play a very critical role in the development of this. So the features of good, of course, e-content is the reusable, authentic, self-learning. It should have all these features. The multimedia enriched should be structured. It should be easily navigable, and it should have the components of self-assessment. This is what we have been emphasizing, and that is how we have developed our content. So these are the 6 subjects in which we worked. All these are, the details in that. I will not be going into this. So these are the 4 quadrants in which our team worked, and I would request the Kumaramangalam University that if the teachers through this FDP or the other teachers who want to do work in this area, Khalsa College is a platform. Khalsa College is an institution where we welcome everybody, and we generate our own resources, and these will be put up on SWAYAM or other platforms under their own names. So you can see that in even for the sake of saving the time, I'm skipping some of the slides. You can see that the UGC has given us, if we contribute to this platform, they have given the full credit. They have given the due weightage in terms of the academic scores. If we contribute, in this, and you can get the full academic recognition also through the UGC and through the Ministry of Education. So in your professional and your career advancement, the good weightage is given to them. So this center was, I'm sure Dr. Vimal might have shared with you, this center was established under the Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching Scheme, and we got one. So I will stop here. This is what I find is very important, and all those parameters which all those parameters which are there in the NAAC, which ensures the quality across institutions, which expects the institutions to provide the quality education. I think teachers and the researchers, they play a very significant role in developing relationships in the society in terms of various, with various stakeholders in the system, the teachers, the parents, the students. And I think in this, the whole focus has to be aligned with the institutional development plan, which the UGC is emphasizing, that every institution should have the institutional development plan, which is a long-term plan, which of course comprises the short-term components also, that what do we want to do in 5 years, 10 years. And I think in this, the teachers and the students are very, very critical. They have to focus on the development of this, and we can see how important it is for the teachers to continuously develop their knowledge, to continuously upgrade their subject knowledge, and also evolve the the interdisciplinary practice. I will stop here, and I will answer any questions that you raise. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Well, I call upon for questions. You have a chance to seek clarifications from the speaker, and definitely your active participation will enrich the discussion and benefit everyone. So the house is open now.
Yeah.
You can kindly raise your hands, or you can type the question in the chat box.
Yeah, you can do that. Just a minute. Hanji, ma'am. Hanji.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm requesting the participants, please come forward with any question.
Yeah, I would request them to, raise their hands, or they can type, they can, ask straightway if you can unmute some of them.
Yes, sir. So you have a bright opportunity to interact with sir because sir is heading the teaching learning center at Khalsa College. So it can really be a lot of awareing things about how to develop e-content, MOOC. So this, I'm sure this platform will help all of us to understand things in a much better way. So generally what question I come across in my university is how one teacher gets an opportunity to get an e-content or a MOOC developed. That's a very regular question asked.
Yeah, ma'am, there are two ways. If you approach the CEC, Consortium for Educational Communication, it is an arm of the University Grants Commission. And I think it is on the road, which goes from Munerka to Vasant Kunj, near the, that Nuclear Science Center. And you can, in fact, approach them. They have their website. If you have any, kindly see, they have also listed the programs and you can submit your own proposal to them that you want to work on this and you want to develop a MOOC or you want to develop some e-content in them. They will send your proposal to the experts, to the reviewers, and if the reviewers, they give the go-ahead, they will sanction you the money also. So this is one way, but I think the institution where you are teaching, they have to get accredited before that. I think the NAAC accreditation is their minimum condition. Some of the institutions which have not got the NAAC recognition, NAAC accreditation, they should do it, and their teachers can apply to that. And after that, it is not that easy to develop the MOOC. You can write the content, you can approach any one of the institutions which are doing work in this, and they can help you in developing, making your content, compatible with the multimedia tools that we shall be using. So I think Professor Vimal, in our college, our entire group, for instance, who have been working here, the advisory committee, you can contact any one of them and we can also help you. There are other institutions also which can help you in this. So this is how we can do this work. But you can write us a mail, we can send you the details of that also. Right. Or alternatively, if you are already doing some work in this, some NGOs, they also approach you and they ask you to add the content through the MOOCs on them. For instance, the Cancer Society of India has approached us, and we developed a MOOC which is available there on the SWAM platform. Similarly, the Delhi Police, for instance, asked us to develop some training tools for them in forensic science. We develop certain, the multimedia enriched tools for them. Especially, we wrote them the lab manuals for them, and then we recorded some experiments which they are using in examining the criminal evidence. It is a part of their training. So this is how we can, help you. Now, your own university has a very large number of professionals. The current pharmaceutical scientists, for instance, if they want to do something in their own area where they think that the general public can benefit from them, we can help them also in doing this.
Right, sir. So we have one attendee who has raised the hand, Dr. Saroj Yadav. I think Madam is interested to the question. Ma'am, we invite you, please. Go ahead.
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah. Am I audible, sir?
Hanji, bilkul, ma'am.
Good morning, sir. Very nice session. Sir, I want to know about that, how to develop the e-content. For there any registration to submit our e-content?
Ma'am, as I said, as far as, the developing MOOC is concerned or e-content is concerned, you can approach the CEC, which is an organization of the University Grants Commission. This is the consortium for educational communication. So it is situated near Vasant Kunj, and you can approach them through writing a proposal. You can visit their website and download, the application. And if your own university, for instance, if your university or your organization is interested in developing some material which can be accessed by the teachers and by the students, we can help in that also. It is not the simple video recording. It is a lot of animation tools are used and other things which becomes easier, and it has the provisions for multilinguistic translations also.
Okay. Okay.
Hanji, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sir, I basically have one more question. What is the difference from this edtech companies? Now they are getting very popular with higher education also. First, they were active in the K-12 zone, and now they are getting a lot of importance in higher education scenario because they are developing at a faster rate e-content compared to SWAYAM or government initiatives.
Yeah, there are many private initiatives also. Where we find that many of them have started developing, the professional programs. But we concentrated only on the academic content which is prescribed in the university. It was the MOOCs that we developed were primarily as per the university, designed syllabi. And also, it was the whole course was moderated through the University Grants Commission. They, in fact, put up many conditions. They gave us the grant, but it was attached with many conditions. So, we were, the content that we have developed so far, it was primarily in the core disciplines of chemistry and other subjects that we have mentioned. But yes, there are many private institutions nowadays, which are developing this content, especially the skill education, for instance. We find, if you search the web, you will find that in different skill sectors, the content is available. But, most of the time we find that this is primarily, the video based. They do not do any animation work, and they do not look into, the credit requirements of the students. We, the educational institutions of higher education, we have to incorporate and then, evaluate the students as per their credit requirements, so that it becomes an integral part of their teaching learning process. University of Delhi, for instance, has done it for many subjects. We have developed the skill enhancement courses, sports, for instance, yoga, value addition courses, ethics, all legal literacy, for instance. So these are some of the courses which are useful for the individual. They may not be hardcore professional courses, but yes, they give lot of opportunity to the students to develop some skills so that they can be employable after completing graduation, or they are able to do research if they are so keen. The national education policy has the various flexibilities. We can continue with 3 years education and 2 years of masters, or the 4 years of graduation or the undergraduation, and then 1 year with post-graduation. And in the 4th year, it will be, the honors program with research, and the students will be able to join the PhD program directly, and this is what the University of Delhi has also done. And this is the national education policy, which is emphasizing this. So these are, the various possibilities. And I'm sure, as the education is being spread, we want to raise the gross enrollment ratio from currently from 27% in the next 15 years to 50%. So you can see that already the number of the universities is more than 1,000 and the number of colleges is almost 40,000. Now, if we want to double the enrollment ratio, we cannot double the universities and the educational institutions. The existing teachers, the existing institutions will have to expand their teaching learning capacities. And here, the quality should not suffer. And that is why I think the continuous training of the teachers, the continuous upgradation of the teachers in order to ensure quality and be competitive in the rest of the world is important.
Right. So we have one more attendee who desires to ask a question. I invite Dr. Amendra Pratap Yadavji. Please, sir, you can go ahead.
Very good morning, sir. Sir, very interactive sessions. Sir, basically, I have the question, very basic question, sir. I am from the institutions which is affiliated to AKTU Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh. We are here practice this CU based question papers and knowledge level based question paper. But in the AKTU question, they are asking the basic.
So your voice is not audible.
Questions, AKTU, they are not criticizing this type of this kind. So how we manage these things, sir? So because we have the limited time limits, we have the 1 semester only. In that total 40 to 45 lectures hours. In that we have to complete our syllabi.
Yeah, we understand. Yes, the question that you are raising is that, in a semester, you are finding it extremely difficult to, adopt this kind of methodology, this kind of pedagogy.
Yes,
if I have understood correctly. These days, what is important is, it is not, the lecturing. That is why, we emphasize is that the ICT, you can use the ICT and develop your lectures. For instance, we have developed a teacher's e-kit. In the teacher's e-kit, the teachers can prepare their lectures. They can share it with the students. And then, the teacher's e-kit also has the self-assessment tools. It is not the teachers which is assessing the students. It is the students themselves, maybe in the form of quizzes, maybe in the form of, fill in the blanks or this, this promotes the student to learn further. So, these are the formative assessments which the students use themselves. And then they can, if you are doing it in the class, earlier, even, these days, some of the universities, they are still using end of the semester, end of the year examination system. That may not be feasible in this. If you really want to ensure that the learning outcomes, the outcomes that you have emphasized in a particular course, if these are translated into the learning, then you have to assess them continuously. And there cannot be better mechanism than the teacher himself, because you are continuously into their touch. And your own college, your own university can evolve a group where, even the, if let us say, if a senior teacher is busy, you can involve your research scholars also. They also develop interest in these tools. So, it has to be a learning outcome cannot be ensured through, the end semester examination. You can have 50% weightage, you can have 60% weightage, but I think the teacher needs to, we have to design our teaching in such a way, we have to design our courses, syllabi in such a way that the students are assessed continuously. And also, further, as the National Education Policy emphasizes the cluster teaching. that in a district, let us say if a college does not have all those facility, the district may have, and we need to develop some system whereby the students, maybe on a weekday, Saturday, let us say, we keep a day for them, we then go to the other neighboring institution and ask the teachers there what they are doing, and they can complete the courses from them also. You see, in the villages, for instance, in the far-flung areas, it is very difficult to imagine to have all those skills, mechanisms for developing those skills, which we expect the students to develop. So therefore, we need to share resources, but I know the structural difficulties in this, the rigidities in our system, and also, the lack of communication between two institutions. We have trying in University of Delhi, but this is a city-based university. In our districts, these universities are located far away from the educational institutions. So we have to work out those things, how we can allow the teacher with a lesser syllabus, if we are able to translate more outcomes, if we are able to give the student more and he becomes much more confident even while doing less, I think that is much more meaningful than giving him merely lectures and not allowing any interaction with the teachers.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Sir, I see there's no more questions. So thank you so much. Your talk was such a comprehensive mix of giving an overview of NEP, as well as talking about the significance of the criteria for NIRF ranking. And as per NEP, we have understood, sir, that education is fundamental for achieving full human potential and developing at an equitable and just society and promoting national development overall. And definitely, sir, your message is well taken, that ranking framework objective is to get better and better. And at the same time, the rank does not confer the privilege that or give power, rather it imposes more responsibility. So thank you so much for such an informative and awareing talk. And it's my request to Dr. Jaswinder Singh, sir, to please accept the memento. It's though virtual, sir, but it's a mark of gratitude just for your presence and sparing your valuable time. So kindly accept our gratitude, sir.
Thank you, Ji. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. May I leave now, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, moving further, I quote that the best part of competition is that through it, we discover what we are capable of and how much more we can actually do than we ever believed possible. So this is the message, what we have been able to understand as we are learning after each session, and we are making ourselves competitive in the world of, or the era where Generation Z is going on in a way, or we say that they are called as digital natives. So with this motive in mind, we move to our next session. We are honored to have our second speaker of the day, Shri Janaki Raman S. Sir is the ex-director Pfizer. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you very much. Can you all hear me clearly?
Yes, sir. So we take the privilege of introducing you to the gathering. I request my fellow colleague, Dr. Swati, to kindly introduce you. May I request, madam?
Thank you, ma'am. So I would like to welcome Janaki Raman S. Sir, Senior Vice President and Vertical Head Sales and Marketing, Cadila Pharmaceuticals, Ahmedabad. Mr. Janaki Raman is an accomplished and proactive senior professional holding more than 25 years of experience in sales and marketing in the pharmaceutical industry. He has been an inspiring leader, guiding cross-functional and multicultural teams and achieving extraordinary client relationship management skills. He is also expert in managing and generating revenue for global brands and branded generics in the prescription and OTC space. He has also been proficient in handling direct and indirect sales channels to meet sales targets and transforming uh, the functioning of business through flagship digital engagements. He has achieved inroad across a broad spectrum of innovative product categories and performance, scaling the ladder holdings, senior portfolios, bonuses, and stock options year on year. He is adroit in making strategic decisions regarding the operational aspects of the business besides sales and marketing, and also specialized in ideating creative go-to-market strategies with a scientific approach backed by the tactical action programs. He has achieved consistent and healthy green audit ratings and laid a foundation for best practices that were emulated across the globe. He is an excellent team leader, training, guiding, and motivating teams of professionals toward maximum productivity. Sir has also worked as general manager in pharma companies and also as director marketing and national sales head in Pfizer Mumbai. He has also been actively participating in different other organizational activities. He has also been part of various companies like Landbeck Company Bangalore, and he has been a part of this company as the country marketing head and various other pharma companies before this since 1994. He has also been prestigious. He has won some prestigious awards like Country Manager Award, Sales Manager Award, Pfizer Talent Pool for Southeast Asia region, Platinum Medico Marketing Award, Golden Medico Marketing Award, Launch Excellence Award, etc. He has been very proficient in and having a lot of key skills for all the professional career he has. As he is very highly skilled person who has outshined in our field, and I'm sure if opportunity will be provided, we would be more than happy to introduce to our upcoming pharma graduates and inspire them to achieve heights in their career. So with this, I would like to welcome and invite sir for his words, thoughtful words, and please share all of them with us.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me share the screen. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
So first of all, let me thank Dr. Hema Chowdhury, Dean, School of Medicine and Allied Sciences, KR Mangalam University, and also other participants, Guru Angad Teaching Institute Learning Center, SGTB Khalsa College, and Association of Pharmaceutical Teachers of India, APTI, for having given me an opportunity to talk in this forum. I was seeing the agenda, and I saw a lot of people, experts in the training of pharmacy, and also a lot of doctors in this particular program. My session today will be slightly different. I will mostly be talking about how the pharmaceutical industry works in a very different way, in a very bird's eye view, because I cannot cover the length and depth of it. But whatever experience I've gained in companies like Pfizer and Lundbeck, I will be sharing you some examples so that it can actually help, probably the students of pharmacy later on to take up, something called as commercial departments, that is marketing, sales, and other areas in pharmaceutical industry. So I will give you a lot of examples. Maybe it will be more example based rather than presentation of slides. I have the slides for you just to see them, probably to set the topic for discussion. Okay, so the topic today, which I have chosen, is revamping healthcare marketing, sales, and digital. Now, the first slide is, of course, it's just the definition of healthcare and life sciences. We sometimes interchangeably use these two terms, but as you see here, healthcare is more to do with medical services and management of patients' health. So it mainly focuses on diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of disease and medical conditions. Okay, so that's healthcare would mean even hospitals, it would mean doctors, it would mean all those allied specialties which actually takes care of patient and medical services. Life sciences, when we mean, is more about a scientific study of living organisms and their biological processes. I'm sure you would have been learning, you would have already learned in pharmacy or in pharmacology as such. Okay, so but what happens is these two we use interchangeably, but life sciences, because of the medical advancements and improvements, contribute a lot to the healthcare practices. So today I will talk to you more about not about healthcare, but more about one life science industry, that is the pharmaceutical industry. Okay, so I'm sure most of you are pharmacy lecturers, most of you are graduate pharmacy, must have read about drug development, must be working in this particular area of drug development. I think the major areas are, one is of course discovery and development, second one is preclinical research, the third area they move to clinical development, fourth is the FDA approval and the government approval, and the last one of course is the post-marketing PMS, or post-marketing survey. There are various hurdles, there are various steps you know that we need to follow during this process. Now, unlike other industry, the pharmaceutical industry faces a huge challenge. If you see here, I mentioned that today the cost of developing one new drug is almost about $2 to $3 billion, 2.5 to 2.6 billion dollars, and probably it takes about 10 years before you get an approval right from the development stage, and the failure rate is almost about 90%. So if you ask any businessman and say that, okay, you have to invest $3 billion, wait for 10 years and your success rate is going to be 10%, I'm sure most of them will say, no, I don't want to be in the pharma industry, right? So this is where the promise comes, but this is also the risk that comes in. All pharma companies are not successful in launching new products. Okay, so one of the things which I would like to talk here is, why are more drugs being researched in the outside India? So that's something which you all as teachers can actually look at it. I spoke to a few scientists whom I worked with or whom I have had a contact with in Pfizer or in Bloomberg. So one of the reasons is that they say that Indians, like the Chinese, are very good in chemistry, right? You show a structure, they can probably manufacture the structure at a very low cost using reverse engineering. But when it comes to biology, that's an area which we really need to work on. For example, we may come out with a new chemical entity, but going through the clinical research, clinical development, and getting approval, these three areas needs a lot of investment, and there is a huge chance of failure. So this industry, though we have the multinational companies, we have innovators, let me use the word innovators, and then we have a lot of pharmaceutical companies which are generic players in the industry, right? So generic players means we use terminologies like original research drug. We use a terminology called generic, branded generics. Okay, so when an original innovator loses its patent, there are a lot of companies which can manufacture these drugs at a low cost, probably because they have not invested in research, and they can launch at a very low price. Yes, it is required because everyone cannot afford medication. Okay, even in India, more than 80%, 75 to 80% are not insured, right? They have to, it's an out-of-pocket expense. They'll have to go and pay for the doctor's consultation fee. They'll have to buy the medications. It is expensive, right? So especially in chronic therapies or, probably therapies like cancer, which are very expensive. So generic players definitely play a very significant role in terms of access, in terms of affordability for patients. But what about new drugs that we need? We need a lot of new drugs in the area of anti-infectives, okay? Because there is increased drug resistance we find over the world. We need a lot of research in the area of cancer, because still we need increased survival days. We need patients to survive. We want patients to do well or probably have a better quality of life during the years in which they live. So we need better medication. We need better medication for rheumatoid arthritis, right? We need better medication in diabetes. Today the talk is about obesity. Today we're talking about NASH. Okay, we're talking about liver diseases. We're talking about rare diseases. So we do need a lot of new drugs. And how is that going to happen when this is the risk that is there in the pharmaceutical industry? Yes, once you come out with a new drug and once it is approved, and then you pray that the drug does not have any untoward side effect, or the drug can be definitely useful to a category of patients, then what happens is you have the patent period, right? Maybe 10 years, 12 years. Usually it is about 8 to 10 years, wherein you have to make up your money. So innovators, they try to price the product highly, a little higher, so that they can earn back whatever they've invested, including making profits on the drug which they've launched. So this is the pharmaceutical industry in brief. In a sense, there is a huge investment that goes in. Okay, there is a lot of time that is which needs 10 years, 12 years. You need to invest that time, and you're never sure of the returns. Okay, so there are therapy areas where the success rates are quite high. For example, in CNS, brain and brain disorders, the success rates are very low, right? So it's not very easy for any company to invest and say, okay, let me invest and let me wait for 10 years and let me expect return, hoping that this drug will pass. Just 2 weeks back, Pfizer lost one of its drugs, which was for obesity treatment. Okay, but the only problem was they found out in the trials that it increases their liver, increases enzymes in the body. So they had to discontinue a drug which would have been again a blockbuster. Okay, so therefore, this industry, where is it going to go? You need researchers. You need that kind of investment. Can the government subsidize research? Yes, they're doing it. They're helping the pharma companies in many ways. Can you shorten this 10-year period? Well, it is not easy because you need to do those kind of trials. The only example was when Pfizer came out with a lot of digital, a lot of AI tools which they used, and where usually a vaccine, which usually takes about 8 to 10 years, they were able to probably come out in less than a year. And the COVID vaccine came out less than a year with the mRNA technology. Otherwise, many of them would have probably died. Many of them would have suffered a long time with the COVID infection. So this is the industry all about. It looks very rosy. Yes, it is definitely an industry which will survive. It is just like just an essential component of human beings, and this has to survive. But what about the cost of research? What about the timelines? What about the failure rates? We need to keep this in mind. So if we are able to reduce the amount invested, instead of 2.6 billion or 3 billion, can we do research and get a drug in 50, let's say $500 million? Okay, can we reduce the number of years from 10 years to probably 2-3 years? Can that happen? How is that going to happen? Okay, how can the speed of learning, speed of clinical trials, speed of getting the desired outcomes, is it really possible? Can we use cognitive skills apart from just human cognition? Can we use machine learning? Can we mimic human cognitive skills? So that's the next question, where you find that a lot of pharmaceutical companies are investing heavily on digitization, heavily on artificial intelligence, okay, and machine learning, so that they're able to get better products at a lower, probably at a very quicker, in quick time, and probably the chances of failure are much less when they come out with newer drugs. So this industry looks very simple. Everybody feels, yes, they are going to invest. They're making huge millions of dollars. Yes, they are making money, but there is always a risk involved. Okay, there are other companies in the pharmaceutical industry where they do not go into research, research in a sense coming out with new drugs. But what they might do is they might develop a new formulation. For example, I'm just giving a very basic example of paracetamol. Instead of a paracetamol tablet, they may come out with a paracetamol injection. They may come out with a paracetamol patch. They may come out with paracetamol suppository. So they invest heavily on R&D in terms of a different formulation, and they introduce the market. So just find out how many drugs, original research drugs, have been launched by the Indian pharmaceutical industry. Okay, the Indian pharma is close to about 1.9 lakh crores per annum, growing at about double digit, maybe around 10% to 12%. But how many of these players have actually launched an original research drug which is available in the market for use. So that's where it is. Okay, moving forward, these kind of artificial intelligence, these kind of digitization, and a whole lot of things is required in the pharma industry. Gone are the days where we were secluded. For example, when I worked for 10 years in Pfizer, we always had the edge over other companies because of not only a cash-rich company, but in terms of research, in terms of our scientists, in terms of various therapeutic areas. But come COVID, we realized that we need to collaborate, we need to extend arm, we need to go from a purely research-based company to academic institutions. We need to go to IT professionals. We need to go beyond what we are doing today. It's not just pure science. It's not just biological science. You need a whole lot of engineers. You need a whole lot of mathematicians. You need statisticians. You need something beyond what the pharma industry does today in order to come out with better drugs in a quicker time and at a lower cost, reducing the risk of failure. So that's where the whole game plan is. We need to move away from where we are, and we have to cross collaborate for a success. Now, I will talk about, I'm not an expert in drug development or in clinical research. So I will restrict it to 2 areas because, of course, the drug development I spoke to you, it is very difficult to come out with new drugs. You can fail in the last hour. You can fail even after the launch. I'm sure you would have heard about a drug, ethoximide, which was used for epilepsy. They launched it because it was used for seizures in children. And then they realized that it had a very irreversible side effect after its launch, right? So an eye disorder which it produced. So therefore, and then they had to withdraw this drug. Okay, it is very rarely used today in the world. So that's where drug discovery is. Research, in clinical research also a lot of money is spent. We need to speed up research. We need to find out patients who can or willing to do research with newer drugs. When it comes to FDA approvals, it's not that easy. They ask a lot of questions. You need to substantiate with various things, which is time consuming, which needs intense work before it is submitted to FDA. Now, the question is, you have invested $3 billion, spent 10 years, and you have a drug. What are you going to do with the drug? So the next part is the marketing and sales aspect. Very crucial for the success of the pharma industry. Just like drug discovery, because if you don't discover a new drug, then, after the patent period or the loss of exclusivity, as we call it, a lot of Indian companies, sorry, not Indian companies, Chinese, a lot of generic players, let me say even Teva and others, would launch that same drug at a much lower cost and they would make it available across the world. And then the innovators, after the patent period, withdraw the drug, or they say, okay, I cannot sell this drug at a lower cost, or probably they would make very less profits. And this profit is not sufficient to invest in research. Okay, just to give you an example. So if they earn, let's say 100 rupees in a year, they have to invest anywhere between 10 to 15 rupees in research. But remember one thing, this 10 to 15 rupees is never a sure shot of success. So in the P&L or in finance, it is put in a way where this just is written off. That means you may not get this money back at all. So are you bold enough to invest that kind of a research, especially when the number of drugs are lesser as we move forward? So what is the role of marketing and sales, okay, in pharmaceutical industry? Why does companies give a lot of emphasis? Once the drug comes to the market, then you need the marketing and sales guys have to sell, have to make more and more patients having that particular disease or disorder use this particular drug. So when I talk about marketing, what is marketing? I'm sure all of you here must have some session on marketing or business administration. Okay, so let me put it in a very simple way. Marketing is all about an exchange process, right? So you have a product which you want to sell it to me. If I'm the patient, if I find value in it, I'm going to buy a product. So we call it as capturing, we call it as creating value and capturing value. So the company first creates value. First it says, what is this new drug? It creates value in terms of better efficacy, value in terms of better tolerability, or value in terms of both better efficacy and tolerability, or value in terms of better compliance rates, value in terms of lower cost of therapy to the patient. So there is a value created for a particular drug to a particular patient. If this value is being created, then you can capture it. How do you capture value? Probably by selling more number of units. Okay, probably by selling across the world. Probably by telling more patients to buy this product. How do you do it? It's a very simple process, but marketing involves, there is a science and there is an art in this entire process. Okay, so I'm sure those of you who read marketing will be knowing about segmentation, targeting, and positioning. We segment the entire market to say, okay, if there is a new drug for, let's say a new antihypertensive drug, maybe this drug is definitely useful in reducing systolic blood pressure. So we segment the entire market into different things, maybe on age, maybe on sex, maybe on the disease pattern, maybe as a first line, maybe as an add-on drug. So there are different kinds of segmentation. So you divide the entire market into different segments, and then maybe you cannot go and probably target all the segments. It is not possible. Even a company as big as Apple cannot go and satisfy all the customers who exist in the market for even iPhone, even phones. Okay, they have a particular segment. They will target the particular segment. It could be on cost. It could be on added services. It could be the wants and desires of that particular patient population. So we target those particular group. Let's say it's an elderly group, probably not able to tolerate medication, or probably let's say are non-compliant to the existing therapies, who are ready to afford a higher price. If that is the case, we go for that particular target. And then the next role is positioning. How do you position a particular product? Positioning is finding a sweet spot in the customer's mind. Okay, so every brand which you know is known for a particular promise. Okay, if that promise is not delivered, you're not going to buy that brand ever again. So marketeers have to first understand the particular customer. They need to segment the customers. They need to target the customers, and they need to position the product in a right manner. However, in the entire process, they need to create a value, and the value should be recognized by the patient, by the doctor, and then they need to capture and then if this happens, then it is easy to capture the value. So what does marketing do in a pharmaceutical industry? It raises awareness about medication, about a new medication, what is the indication in which it can be used, what is the age group, probably what are the drug-drug interactions of a particular drug, what is the efficacy, what is the side effect profile. So it educates target audience. Target audience could be doctors. Here, usually in the pharma industry, it's a highly restrictive industry in a sense. It's regulated. Okay, we cannot go and advertise. You don't see advertisements in televisions or radios because most of these drugs can have side effects, right? So therefore, the advertisements, advertising are restricted. It's a very, the entire thing is highly regulated industry. So marketeers, they're supposed to market a drug following various regulations. Okay, they cannot over advertise, they cannot over promise, they cannot go to all target audience. They have to advertise, they have to go take this message to the right target audience as it is allowed by the government of India, right? As the Drugs and Magic Remedies Act, as per our laws. Okay, so let us say it is going to a healthcare professional. They need to talk about the medicine, the benefits, what it gives. And if the doctor tries on patients and if he finds the promise being delivered, then only the drug is going to be prescribed. Otherwise, the drug does not get any prescription. Let's say there are so many drugs which were launched in the world which did not have better efficacy or which did not have better tolerability, though the companies invested a huge amount of money to come out with a new drug. Those drugs probably did not do well, and then they died in the market. So marketing is a science and an art. Okay. Now the question is, what do marketeers do? Okay, this is an area which I think many of your students, pharmacy students, can definitely play a very important role. I'm sure even the medical students play a very important role, because some of the companies like Pfizer and Lundbeck or even the multinationals usually have doctors, MBBS, MD doctors, even MPharms or the pharmacy students who are very good marketeers, basically because they can understand probably a lot about the medication, probably a little more about the human anatomy and physiology, and they can probably communicate better to the HCP or the healthcare professional. Okay, so that's where this is one area which, of course, many pharmacy students can actually venture into, and there is a very good career in this. They move up, and some of the CEOs of the top pharmaceutical companies are actually headed by people who have worked in marketing departments. Why is it so? Okay, so if you look at the way, I've not listed all the steps which they do. I've given a few steps like market research. They have to understand, they do a market research to find out, is there a need for a new antihypertensive drug at all? Okay, if there is no need, then there is no need to launch. If doctors say, yes, there is a need, we require a drug with better efficacy, we require a drug which can be used once a day, probably we require a drug which is once a week. Okay, for example, if you look at patients with mental illness, especially in chronic mental illnesses like schizophrenia, the non-compliance rates are very high. It's very difficult to go and tell the patient or the caregiver to take medicines 3 times a day. They're going to be completely non-compliant. Non-compliance could be as high as 50 to 80%. So they don't take therapy, and then they're going to go into relapse. So probably if the company can come out with once a day drug, or probably a drug which can be given once in a week, then yes, that's where the potential lies. So the marketeer, as marketing department, they will do a market research to find out customers, what they want, what are their expectations, what are the need gaps that exist in the particular market. Then they do the entire exercise of segmentation, targeting the customers, positioning the product, and then coming out with a brand which makes a promise to the customer ultimately. When they do all this, then they come to the word strategy. I'm sure many of you would be using the word strategy. I'm sure you understand that strategy is a grand design to get your objective. Usually strategy, the word strategy means long-term. Usually it's a long-term planning which is done in order to reach your target objective. So then they go to the strategy to say, I will position this drug versus another drug. Okay, let's say, and they come out with the various campaigns. Now let me give you some examples and not use these terminologies. A very simple example, I'm sure you would have heard of lorazepam. It's an anxiolytic drug. It's a very old drug, more than 40 years in the market, which is used for anxiety. It can also be used in high doses for sedation, right? So when suppose a marketeer has to probably make a plan how to sell this particular product, he needs to know who are the competitors, clonazepam, alprazolam. Okay, why do doctors prescribe those drugs? Okay, maybe because of faster efficacy like alprazolam, or probably a long-acting drug like clonazepam. And then they need to know, so what is I told you, creating value. In what way is lorazepam different? So you say that all are same, all take care of anxiety. Why should I use lorazepam? Is it because it has got a cardiac safety, it has got a liver safety? Fine. If that is the case compared to others, can we look at patients who need higher liver safety? Okay, who need benzodiazepine or an anxiolytic, which is definitely safe to the liver. So one of the campaigns we did was that we could not fight clonazepam because there were many competitors promoting clonazepam in the market. The price was not an issue, efficacy was not an issue with clonazepam. But we realized that for liver, lorazepam is much safer. And then we said that the marketing team came out with a campaign to say those patients who need an anxiolytic and having liver problems. Now, how many of us have done SGOT and SGPT level in the last 3 months to 6 months? I'm sure none of us would have done it, okay, or very few would have done it. What about people taking alcohol, okay, regular or on weekends or binge drinking? Have you ever tested your SGOT and SGPT levels? I don't think we do it unless there is a particular problem. But when you actually do it, you will find the levels will be very high. And therefore, in those patients taking alcohol, having liver problems, lorazepam happens to be a much better drug compared to clonazepam and diazepam or even alprazolam. So that's where the differentiator is. The marketeer needs to find out this. So in-depth knowledge about the product, in-depth knowledge about customers' feedback, about patients, and then you can actually probably come out with a marketing campaign how we can promote this particular product, lorazepam. Okay, so that's how they come out with a strategy. They come out with a lot of promotional campaigns to say, doctor, when a patient comes, for example, when we found out, patient coming to a psychiatry and neurology setting, 70% of patients will consume alcohol, okay, or consume alcohol. Let me use the say they consume. In a physician setting, 30 to 40% of patients going to a physician setting, whether it's diabetes, cardiovascular, arthritis, any problem, have a comorbid alcohol use. So therefore, in those patients, we always recommend them to use lorazepam, right? So that's how the strategy has been would come out. Okay, looking at your targets, looking at your segments, looking at where to position the product. Okay, so this is the next aspect about where do you want to go, how do you want to promote the product. Okay, how do you support the sales team? The idea is you have 8 to 10 years to make a dent in the market. You want more doctors to prescribe. You want to earn back whatever you spent. You want to make a profit out of the new product that has come out. Okay. For example, let me take the third product, Apixaban. I'm sure some of you or most of you would have heard about this product. It's called Eliquis, one of the brands which was under me. It comes under the classification of new oral anticoagulant compared to warfarin, compared to clopidogrel. This drug is very safe in elderly patients, very safe in patients having CKD, very safe in patients having GFR less than 30, right? So therefore, we went for these patients and we said, patients, if they are having any of these problems, then this drug would be a drug of choice. We did not know it till COVID struck us. When COVID struck, one of the major problems was clotting of blood, and many people died because of clotting. And Apixaban was one of the drugs which the doctor started using it and found and could save many lives of patients, which came in as a surprise to us because that was safe, it was well tolerated, and much better than other drugs in terms of tolerability. Okay, so I've given some examples of drugs which are Apixaban is of, I think, the fourth biggest product prescribed in the world. I think it's about $14 billion is the sale on an annual basis. Okay, so how does it happen? You come out with a drug, marketing has to find out where to promote the product, who are the doctors to be met, what should we communicate to the doctor, and what are the various campaigns should I do so that the brand gets reminded on a regular basis. Okay, and the brand is used more number of times. I'll give another example of a marketing campaign. There is a drug called Varenicline. Those of you who heard about it, it's called Champix. It's actually for an anti-smoking drug. Read about it. It's a very interesting drug. When we met the scientist said he was a chain smoker and he wanted to come out with a drug to stop the smoking. And Varenicline was a drug which he came out with. Okay, so when we went to doctors, they said it's a very expensive drug. It's about 70 rupees per day, and you'll have to use it for 6 months. But it's very difficult to convince a smoker. Very difficult to convince them to say stop smoking. It's not going to happen. It's a drug. It's a habituation, right? It's a habit-forming substance. Nicotine is one of the most habit-forming substance in the world. It's very difficult to remove a person out of nicotine. So during my rounds or when I was in the field, when I met some smokers and I asked them, you know it is very bad for your health. You know it is going to cause cardiac problems. You know it is bad for this one. You can it reduces your life and all that. So the customer or the patient or the person who is smoker said, "Sir, have you ever smoked? And have you ever tried to come out of it? So you do that first, and then you tell me that it is easy to stop smoking." So it's very that's very true, because it's very difficult to get the person out of smoking. But then we did not know how to. Though we went a lot of campaigns telling it is not useful here, it is not. It is infertility patients, people who want to who are just married. A chain smoker is one of the cases where they use this drug extensively because in infertility is one of the major problems. So they give this drug in those patients. Those patients might probably take this particular drug, Varenicline. So one of the scientists said you have to go to a gene, and then we found there is a gene called, you can look up RNA5, ChRNA5. Yeah, I think it's ChRNA5 gene. And today it's very easy. If there are two smokers, if smokers come to me, I would know whether to give a Varenicline or not. just take and find out through a gene analysis. It's hardly about 600, 700 rupees. Using the saliva, you can find out if this gene exists. If that gene exists, then that person is very sensitive to nicotine receptors and very sensitive to nicotine. Therefore, it is very difficult to get that person out of smoking, and varenicline has to be given to him. Otherwise, he or she will not be out of smoking. Okay, so we found out that, and we use that as a tool to go and tell doctors, if you have this, the person has this particular gene, please recommend varenicline. Otherwise, it's left up to the patient to decide whether they want to use it or not. Okay, so these are the very many things which the marketing team does. There's a science, there is medicine, there is pharmacy, there is maths, there is physics, there is a little bit of chemistry. There's a lot of biology involved in this entire process of marketing. Okay, the other aspect which I also wanted to tell you is regulatory compliance. Very strict regulations. You cannot go outside it. Analytical performance. They do a lot of analysis to find out where the drug is moving, who are the competitors. So this is where marketing is. Now the question is it same today what it was 5 years, 6 years back? No, the things have changed. The marketing departments have reduced because of the digital innovation. Today, you don't have to comment, the reps don't have to go to the doctors and talk about the product. Today, using an email, using messages, using webinars like what we're doing now, it is very easy to convey these messages. Doctors don't have to travel, they don't have to waste time, companies don't have to spend a lot of money. It's very easy to convey the message about a new product, about indications, about patient information, about patient types, very easy using the digital route. Most of the campaigns today, companies do using digital route. They want to engage the doctor. We call it as a 360 degrees engagement, where you need to connect the doctors as many times as possible in a week or in a month. It could be a CME, it could be an advisory board meeting, it could be international speaker program, it could be a webinar, it could be a talk, it could be various ways where the digital has made inroads in order to engage the doctor. We can also use patient apps. There are a lot of patient apps, I'm sure many of you would have seen, which the companies are developing and giving it to doctors, so the doctor is in touch with the patient. Okay, the doctor does not lose his patient. The doctor is able to hold the patient for a much longer time in chronic therapies. So digital has changed the way we look at marketing. Okay, so digital has made inroads, and I wouldn't say it has reduced the manpower. Yes, it has reduced manpower to some extent, but it is a very useful tool. And without digital, you cannot be competitive in today's environment. When you look at sales, the next aspect is marketing. A function usually sits in the office, usually works very closely with the medical team, works closely with sales, works very closely with other team players like finance and others to find out a strategy which can work. In sales, what do they do in pharma sales? Many of them would not like to join because they say there is a target, there is a high pressure game. But yes, it is a high pressure game. But once you know the knack of selling, I think you would love to be in this particular profession. A lot of pharmacy students, when I say are in sales profession, in the pharmaceutical industry, they're doing extremely well, and they wouldn't like to go to any other profession. Okay, so this is another area which students can definitely look at. The sales also has changed. Initially, we meet targets. We need to, what do we do in sales? We go and meet a doctor, we promote a product, we talk about the benefits of the product versus competition. We give some samples, we tell the doctor to try the product, and then we build relationship with doctors in terms of programs, in terms of various ways and means, in terms of engaging patients, in terms of various activities, talks, educational programs. Okay, we do a lot of programs to engage the doctor, so doctor is friendly to us, doctor is able to recollect my brand and prescribe my brand. Okay, so this is what the sales people do. But yes, they have to plan their work. They need to know which territory to go, which doctors to meet, which products to promote, what are they going to a doctor. Remember, unfortunately in this profession, I would use the word unfortunate because the customer is a highly educated customer. So for example, if I go today to buy probably an iPhone or probably a MacBook, I'm not much aware about the hardware and software about these things. But when a pharma rep guy goes to a doctor, he cannot say anything and come out. The doctor is well informed. The doctor knows about the disease. The doctor knows about his patients. The doctor knows about the other drugs which he's prescribing. He knows about the efficacy, the tolerability, the challenges. So therefore, the salespeople have to be definitely trained in order to convey the right message to the doctors. They cannot oversell. They cannot go without being prepared. The doctor doesn't accept that. Okay, so that's where it is. That's where the sales planning and implementation for commercial success. Now, marketing and sales are two important areas where the company invests a lot of resources because they have a short period of time to make money what they've invested. Okay, they need to go and meet doctors. They need to make inroads. They need to build, sell more of the product in order to gain market shares. Okay, now, has digitization changed? When I say digital, it's a process of converting information, data, and process from analog or physical formats into digital formats. Has digital changed the pharma space? Yes, pharma, unlike other industries, are a little slow in accepting the digital world. We should accept that we are very slow. We invest less because unless we find benefit, we say, no, we don't want to use it. Let me use it somewhere else in order to make my product sell, in order to build my brand. But if you look at if the tick marks everywhere it has touched in terms of market research, today you can do sitting in place, you can just subscribe and get a market research. What is happening in the US, why a particular product gets sold, why a particular product is not sold, what is the data around different specialties. A physician may have a different view, a psychiatrist may have a different view, a cardiologist may have a different view, an oncologist may have a very different view. Okay, so you can access it very easily. Promotional campaigns, I told you, you don't have to go today, meet doctors multiple times, give literature. Everything can be sent over a mail. They can buy books, they can subscribe to journals, they can actually, in fact, even have attend various international programs, sitting in their clinic and even seeing patients. A lot of engagements can be done today. Now, has it changed? Yes. Today, we spend a little less compared to what we used to do on print media, on other media, including personal selling. We use the digital media in marketing in order to develop a lot of campaigns, okay, in order to help the salespeople, okay. In terms of patient support programs, we help the doctors in many ways. One example is telemarketing or teleconsultation, okay. So we worked with one of the let me use the word, the MECOF Southeast Asia, or the best institute for mental disorders in Bangalore, National Institute of Mental Health, NIMHANS, and they have programs, which can actually help doctors, which can train doctors in various aspects. Okay, so there is no need to go and attend a seminar. I was just somebody was asking about how can we do it. You can do it to the digital route. Today we have many programs conducted by centers of excellence, whether it is AIIMS, whether it is PGI, whether it is NIMHANS, whether it is Institute of Mental Health, whether it is JIPMER. You take the Apollo groups, everybody does digital programs in terms of training, in terms of giving advisory, in terms of helping the pharma companies. Okay, a whole lot of things has changed in marketing. A whole lot of things has changed even in sales. If you talk about product promotion, you can do it through digital route. Today, we can send a link and the doctor presses it. 1 minute video can pop up and it can talk about the brand benefits. It can talk about the molecule. It can talk about patient benefits. It can talk about patient types. It can talk about a whole lot of things in just 1 minute. Okay, and in one press of a button, it can go to even 5 lakh or 6 lakh doctors, whomever we are targeting. Okay, we don't require that many salespeople. So if you see in the last 1 year, those of you following the pharma industry, last 1 year, many MNCs have reduced salespeople, right? They've given them a golden handshake because it is very difficult to go and meet doctors and promote a paracetamol, go and promote diclofenac, go and promote, drugs which doctors have been using for many years. Doctor says there is nothing much and you don't have to come and talk to me anymore. If there's a new study, yes, I'm willing to listen. If there's a new drug, yes, I can you talk to me about it. But otherwise, how do you ensure that your drug still sells? So you need a digital route, and digital has changed the entire way. We were a little scared 10 years back, 12 years back, but as we started using more of digital and personal selling, we found that digital actually helped us in many ways. If you want to as you're in the teaching profession, if you'd like to know more about where digital can be used in teaching, how digital can be used for your students, I would request the dean to talk to the man's director, Dr. Pratima Murthy. I can also put in a word. They do a lot of programs in India, Asia, for many students. There are, and it is very, very cost effective. They are supposed to be one of the best programs which is done by these centers of excellence. So reach out to them, reach out to AIIMS, find out. You can pick up a lot of things. Cross collaboration. That's what I said. Learn from these kind of centers of excellence. How are they making it successful? How are they loading so much of data to the people? How are they able to educate so many people in such short time using economical ways? You can actually use centers of excellence. So even in sales, whether it is computer analysis, whether it is knowing your key opinion leader, you want to know a doctor, let's say a doctor in Delhi, like Dr. Rajesh Nagpal, who's a leading psychiatrist, right? So the information about him, what he practices, how many patients he sees, what is an expert in, everything is available today. I don't have to go and find out. It's available. And if I have to have, let's say, an engagement with him through the digital route, it is possible to do that, right? So digital has gone way into marketing and way into sales. One of the other ways is like, for example, you want to develop let's say a brand campaign for a product like a famous product like Champix, some of my famous brands like Viagra, global brand. I can just sit and I can, with the press of a button, I can know what are the famous campaigns in the US, what are the famous campaigns in Europe, what are the famous campaigns in South America, what are the famous campaigns, let's say even in Russia. I can find out all the campaigns and then I can pull out some campaigns and just say to the agency, can you develop something like this? Because this is what Indian government allows us to do. And they can do it in a day or two and give it to us. Cost effective, well time tested, good punch, because it has been, doctors are upset across the world. So that's how it is, how digitization has changed marketing and sales functions. Moving ahead, it is going to play a very important role, even in many aspects. And one such aspect, which I'm going to talk to you, is about artificial intelligence. So this is something which you all can spend some time reading about what is artificial intelligence, how is it useful, and how you can use it in your teaching profession. But for us, the pharma companies, everyone is investing in artificial research, artificial intelligence. If you have time, I would encourage you to go to Pfizer digital space. You can go to Google and type Pfizer CDI, Center for Digital Intelligence. You go to that website, you're going to find a whole lot of things, the way things change. I always used to wonder how a physician is categorized as a good physician and an ordinary physician. A good physician, if you see even today, with let's say your blood reports, your scanning reports, he's able to diagnose it much better. He's using a lot of data points, diagnose it, and probably gives the right treatment. So suppose if you're able to capture all this, let's say we call 1,000 best cardiologists of India, and we say, what are the risk factors of stroke? They list down about, let's say, 1,000 risk factors for stroke. We capture all those 1,000 risk factors, and then we say, when what do you do in the when you see these risk factors? How do you avoid this risk? How do you prolong, or how do you prevent a stroke? You find out all that. And today what is happening is you can capture all that through an intelligent method using artificial intelligence. And when you feed, let's say if I'm the patient, I've done a blood test, let's say a scanning report, a whole lot of diagnostic tests, MRI, CT scan, PET scan, or whatever scans the doctor has told me I've done. Once I feed it into this intelligence, can definitely take out some thing and say, this guy is definitely a risk of developing stroke. So he can develop a stroke in 1 month's time based on those 1,000 doctors data which you have taken. Definitely that would be the prognosis of this particular patient. I think recently in Google, when when Pichi was talking about what advancement Google has done, they did this scans, eye scans in Shankar Nethralaya and one more, I forgot the name of one more institute in Chennai. And what they did was, when they were doing this retinal scans, usually it used to say, okay, you have a diabetes problem, so that's where it is. Okay, this is the retina problem, this is the diabetes, so you have to control diabetes. If how are we going to take care of the eye? But what we have understood is with Google, what it has done is today with just an eye scan, they can say whether this patient can become a cardiac patient, whether the patient can develop a stroke, whether the patient, what is the prognosis of this patient 5 years, 10 years from now. So, it is very difficult, though we human beings are intelligent, they have good cognition levels. I don't think we can look at 10,000 data points, put all of them together and come out with a diagnosis, as is the case in cancer. Okay, so that's what differentiates a good doctor from an ordinary doctor. But the artificial intelligence is going to change or probably help doctors to not to skip any of the diagnosis and say, this is what it is. Probably you'll have to look at these particular steps. Probably you'll have to look at this, roll out these particular problems before you come to this particular diagnosis. Okay, so what is AI? It's a combination of various intelligent process and behavior using these computational models and algorithms, which actually mimic the cognitive functions of humans in terms of learning and problem solving. So this is it is actually changing the world. AI was used when they developed a COVID vaccine in Pfizer. Okay, so just imagine no pharmacy graduate, no medical graduate, no doctors, no vaccine expert could ever think of coming out with a drug in 8 months' time. All of them said 6 years, 8 years. Imagine we completely went and we had to work with the computer experts, the AI experts, and they developed algorithms and they found out a way to test this. They found out a way to come out with a drug which less than 1 year. So how from a medical background, you have to look at, you may be the expert, but you have to look at somebody else. As I told you, even in Pfizer, you are the best company in the world. You are $100 billion company, but then we had to look at academicians. We had to go down to academicians and ask, please help us out. Are we right? Are we making a mistake? Where can we do this change? And somewhere in BioNTech in Germany, these professors found out and they said, this is something mRNA technology can actually help. And they came out with that. So what is AI going to do in the future? Drug discovery process. It is today, all companies have invested a huge amount of money in drug discovery. That's why I said, you please go to the website and look at it. Okay, drug development. Okay, personalized treatment. Okay, this is another area, personalized treatment. So suppose I will give you an example. For example, let me talk a different therapy like CNS and depression. Okay, it is a disease of 1/3. Like 1/3 will respond very well to a treatment, 1/3 will respond moderately to a treatment, and 1/3 do not respond to the treatment. Whoever diagnoses the disease, whoever gives any medication. So therefore, the question is, which patient responds to a particular drug? In depression, let us say, we have SSRIs, SNRIs, TCAs. We have a whole lot of category of drugs, depending upon safety, tolerability, depending upon the receptors, whether it was a serotonin, whether it was a noradrenaline, whether there was a GABA, whether there was a dopamine involved, depending on these neurotransmitters, it is maybe, yes, they can probably identify from symptoms and you can give a drug. Now, today, using the gene therapy, we can find out which drug, which gene responds to which particular drug, or which gene gives plus this drug, which kind of side effects. So that can be avoided initially itself. So in personalized medicine today, we can actually go way ahead to find out the right treatment without wasting much time, without wasting a lot of medication, without reducing the side effects. Okay, so this personalized medicine is something which is already there, practiced in many of the institutes. Okay, learning program. Sell and market better. Yes. So AI also, we use AI today to find out, what can we do with this particular drug? What are the common things which other companies are doing? Can I be successful? Will I fail in this particular drug? Or can it be a much better drug? Okay. So I was telling you about obesity, right? So I'm sure most of you would have read about or at least seen this GLP-1 analog by Novo Nordisk. Okay. So that drug, a very effective drug for controlling diabetes, because it cuts off the messages going to the brain whenever a person is hungry. So you don't have to eat much, and therefore you always feel satiety, you always feel full, and therefore it reduces one of the mechanisms by which it works, and therefore it reduces the intake of food, right? So therefore, this drug being a drug which is used for diabetes, also used for obesity. We have some studies say 15%. Some studies even go up to 20% of weight reduction. I think that's the drug which is a very popular drug today. out of market today. Hollywood actresses today, it's very, you can find out, you can go and research about this drug. It's not available in India yet. No one is planning to get the drug to India, but this drug is a wonderful drug. Now the question is, they already know who are the patients who can be benefited with that. They already would be doing this one to say which kind of obese patients can actually benefit from it. Okay, it's not a trial and error, give it and we'll find out whether it works or not. No, using the AI, we are very advanced. We can actually find out which patient can develop, act better, which patient can act better, which patient actually it can help. So therefore, when I talk about transforming the pharmaceutical industry or transforming healthcare, I think we talked about innovative changes, improving drug development, patient outcomes. I think what comes very important when I talk about all these years is whatever drug we come out with, whatever patients, whatever drugs we do, ultimately, whether it's a pharma science, whether it is medicine, whether it is associated, science which helps doctors and pharmacists to come out with a new drug or give a therapy to a patient. The most important thing is patient, right? I don't think any of my brands would have existed if the patient was not considered. So a patient first model, as pharmacists today, even as HCP, we call them healthcare professionals, right? Whether it's a pharmacist, nurse, whether it is in research, whether it is the doctor, we need to look at patients. So any discipline we do is ultimately has to develop or help the patient in terms of efficacy, in terms of tolerability, in terms of access, in terms of a low price product. So how can pharmacy or pharmacy education help keeping patient in mind? So whenever I always feel, whenever you read a particular subject, let's say a particular topic, whether you read on antihypertensives or whether you read about, let's say you read about oncology drugs, I'm sure you have to interact with doctors, you have to interact with patients. What are the challenges they have? It will give you a lot of ideas to innovate. It already gives you a lot of idea to read. Gone are the days of mugging, where you need to mug, you need to know if everything is available on internet, everything is available on Google. Yes, you need to read, you need to understand, you need to, align your thoughts in terms of how you are going to present a particular medicine or a talk of a particular medicine. But transforming the industry here will mean patient. Keep everything with regard to patient. You need to give a drug which is fast acting. You need to give a drug which is safe. You need to give a drug, come out with a drug which is not expensive. You need to give a drug which is better than all existing therapies. How are we going to do it? Okay, we can do it definitely with digitization, definitely with AI, definitely with more and more ethical ways of getting this drug out. Yes, of course, there are a lot of negative things with regard to AI. Who is going to put the data? Are we going to follow the American Association? Are we going to find the Eurasian Association? Or are we going to find a mix of both with the Indian way of approaching the patient? So all those questions come. Are there big pharma companies which is going to probably work on AI and say probably you have to write my drug in this particular treatment? All those ethics and ethical considerations are there. But if it is used along with education, it can definitely transform the way we are going to come out with drugs. It can transform the way we are seen as a very important part of patient care. We need to be seen as an important aspect of patient care. How are pharmacists tomorrow? How are medical science going to keep patient in mind? How can we develop drugs faster? How can we give better treatment, better processes for patients so that they are happy and they come out with better treatment outcomes. So this is what I mean by transforming. So today, my topic was more about transforming healthcare, but I focused more on one of the life sciences, that is pharma. How marketing and sales, you have seen today how marketing and sales, it's just the basics. There are a lot of things to be discussed, but yes, how marketing and sales is very important for the success of the pharma industry. While they spend a lot of money researching, while they spend a lot of money coming out with a new drug, all their hopes are that the new drug will be able to generate revenue so that they can invest the profit what they invested in other new research, because a new drug. Otherwise, the pharma companies would not exist. no new drugs, pharma companies don't exist. Okay, so this is where it is. We need to transform. How are we as educationalists going to provide our students with better education, make them learn the new ways of how the industry is going. We have to collaborate. We need to learn from others, and we need to imbibe whatever learnings are coming from others quickly, and then give something which is more useful to the patient. Okay, I think these are the few things which I wanted to say from my topic. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Janki sir. You have given such a comprehensive insight into multidisciplinary approach, reasoning for repurposing, initiatives, that is rather new initiatives to be adapted, the content, the strength with respect to content, and the need for change. So you have tried to bring everything in your talk, and definitely this is an extension and well supporting our topic of the FDP, that is the different initiatives for fostering quality. So thank you very much for having given us this application-based talk, and I would like to mention some quotes which I feel are very relevant. So you have made us understand that we should become uncommon thinkers. That is very important because uncommon thinkers reuse what common thinkers refuse. So whatever a common thinker is refusing, we become uncommon and we start reusing it. So that is what I have understood from your talk. And also I've understood clearly that the thing that's transforming is not the technology, it is technology that is transforming us. So thank you. You have made us understand. Of course, your perspective was with pharma industry, but the message was very clearly taken that if you don't change, because change is the law of life, and those who look only to the past or present are certain to miss the future. So we'll hold on to our future because we have to give our next generation a very bright and a secure future. And with your fast ideas, I'm sure we'll end up with good innovations. So I'm really indebted to your talk, sir, and thank you so much for having consented to deliver a talk at such a short notice. And I leave the house open for question and answers. Our speaker would be very happy to answer. If there are any queries or questions, I invite the attendees to kindly interact. Sir, I see one question in the chat box. I cannot read the attendee's name because it is anonymous. Sir is keen to know that during Corona period, vaccines are mostly launched in 3rd phase and 4th phase. And I believe many complications are arising globally in humans now. What can say many reasons, benefits versus safety? Sir has also raised a query with respect to ethical concerns, current and in future. I believe this is what is the question.
So, okay, so I think I would not be an expert to answer this question, but what I understood is that when they were looking at the data, they already knew that there would going to be side effects, right? Side effects with this particular mRNA vaccine. They already knew about it. The data has already been given to the shared with the US FDA. But I think that the only thing was, as you know, we have to look at the risk and benefit. So if you're going to save 95% of the population and 5% is difficult, we have to somehow fight to save them. It's good. It's good enough to go ahead, right? Anything about 80% is good enough to go. There are cases where the FDA allows, even if it has a 60% benefit over the risk. So we did not have any option at all, but to go ahead and say, yes, let's try this out. That is why if you see it was an emergency use authorization. The approval given by US FDA is emergency use authorization. And that is why today, none of the countries, even today, if they've used and if there is a side effect like cardiac myopathy, which many of them have complained about, you cannot sue them because they've saved them, but you will have to look at now and say how to probably look at cardiac myopathy. Otherwise, many of them would have actually probably would not have survived, especially in many of the Western countries. They found it extremely difficult, and we lost a lot of people during this. So that's where it is. Ethics, yes, that's how the FDA is. They go through a lot of stringent requirement when you submit data. There, because even the pharma companies, you take Johnson Johnson for their baby powder. Nobody knew it is going to cause cancer, right? Extended use, but today they are paying a huge price for it, right? They already paid. So I don't think pharma company, anybody says I want to make, like Pfizer made $39 billion last year with the corona COVID vaccine, $39 billion. If somebody is going to sue, it is going to be more than $100 billion, right? So they put a lot of effort team to come out with to ensure that all these things are taken into consideration. But as you know, you need that kind of time, you need that kind of patients to test it. But COVID was a very different example. But also, COVID is definitely a platform where all of us learn that collaboration is very important. You say you're a doctor, you say I will do my own way, it's not going to work. You have to go to an academician. Maybe you have to go to a mathematician, a statistician, a computer expert, an engineer, probably to develop and be more connected. That's what my answer is. Next question is, how do you bridge the gap between between academy and industry? So I think say I'm also a pharmacy student, same college like your dean. Okay, so the thing is that when we read pharmacy, when I completed 1994, it was, yes, of course, my favorite subject was pharmacology, but then it is to a large extent theoretical, right? It is more theoretical. In industry, you need to be practical. You cannot go with theoretical background and say that this drug will work and this is what it is. No. In industry, ultimately, is the success of the industry will depend upon how the patient responds. That's why I concluded saying, keep patients in mind. I can give you a simple example of amitriptyline, right? I'm sure you must have read about amitriptyline, where it is used. It's a TCA, tricyclic antidepressant, used for depression, no more for depression. It is more used for side effects rather than its effects. And in one case was, earlier company's research product, Lundbeck's research. When I went and spoke to the doctor and said, doctor, it causes side effect like dryness of mouth. And the doctor asked me, do you know what is dryness of mouth? I said, yes, doctor, it is dryness of mouth means, it's dry and maybe they have to drink more of water. And he said, just hold on. And he called a lady patient. And he said, can you just show your lips? It was actually in Bangalore when I was in the OPD. And that lady, she could actually feel a leaf of the upper lip. That is dryness of mouth for a person who's taking amitriptyline for 25 mg for almost about 4 to 5 months. She couldn't afford other medications because they were expensive. Okay, so if you have to bridge academy and industry, be practical. Always, whenever you give a talk about, let's say, any drug, anything, call the industry experts. When it is about pharmaceutics, right? When you talk about manufacturing, talk the guy who is actually in the manufacturing sector, because we go because we have to talk about the factory, the particular company in which you are working. Talk to them and ask them what challenges they face, what do they want today. Even digitization, even AI has taken over, robotics has taken over in manufacture of many things. You need to be practical. Academia is good theoretically, a lot of theory, less of practicals. Industry is more of practicals, less of theory. No doctor is going to ask you about, come on, tell me the mechanism of action of the drug. No, doctor himself may not know the mechanism of action of the drug, but he's going to ask you about the efficacy. He's going to ask you about the side effects. He's going to ask you everything that revolves around the patient. So if you want to reduce the gap of academic, think patient first. Any drug you talk about the patient's benefits, talk about the patient side effects, what happens, talk about drug interaction, talk about how the drug is going to benefit the patient. So industry academy, the gap is only theory and practice. Practice means, when I say practice, it has to be a doctor, it has to be a patient, it has to be the voice of a patient, it has to be what can be done to a patient in order to have a better quality of life.
Right, sir. And there's, I think, one more last question. Can we reduce the time required for new drug development using AI?
Yes, we have already started doing it. All the companies, including Novartis, Pfizer, everybody has already started doing it. New drug development, yes, I don't know the timelines, but it is there. It can reduce from, as I said, from 10 years, it can come even as low as 4 to 5 years. It can come even much lower than that. Okay. So again, in the new drug development, you have to have the right feed to the machine to say what are the parameters you're going to keep in mind, and how do you come out with a new drug? What are the various activities? What are the various benefits that you are looking for the drug? What kind of drug should be developed? And therefore, from the past experience, can it quickly, so instead of using your knowledge, instead of going to experts, talking, finding out the entire thing, it can just squeeze and tell you this particular, if you probably have this particular ring structure, it could cause this particular side effect. If you have this kind of a structure, probably it could have, maybe you should not go for this. Maybe it will cause a side effect like this. So AI actually helps in drug development very fast. All the companies are investing huge amounts of money. That's why I said, go to the Pfizer website. You can go to even Novartis. I did go through Novartis website also. Please go through their website, see how things are changing in the pharma industry. Because for pharma industry, getting a new drug is survival. Otherwise, there is no pharma industry.
Right, sir. Thank you so much. Sir, with a sense of gratitude, we wish to present you a virtual memento. Kindly accept on all our behalf.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we extend a heartfelt thanks for your presence and sparing your time for this session.
Sure.
So thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much. And also to all the entire faculty who attended today, read more about AI, read more about digital, the way it is shaping the medical industry. Okay, that's where it is. And probably the next generation would be using, they can diagnose themselves just by sitting in front of a computer. That's what Google is planning to do. So I think we need to learn more. We need to be very open to learning more. I think that's what I would be. And keep always patient first as your primary goal. Are we doing anything that improves patients' quality of life? And thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Can I leave?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, with this, we come to the end of today's sessions. I hope it was very informative and learning. So as I call upon the curtain fall on day 3 of our week-long faculty development program, we can't help but marvel at the wealth of knowledge that has been shared amongst us. We have had the privilege of delving into an array of topics, engaging in thought-provoking discussions, and forging new connections that will undoubtedly enrich our professional lives for years to come. Tomorrow marks another day of learning and growth, and I encourage you all to continue embracing every opportunity to absorb new insights, collaborate with your peers, and be open to fresh perspectives. As we rest and recharge for the exciting days ahead, let us reflect on the valuable lessons we have learned and the positive impact we can have on our students and the academic community as a whole. Thank you all for your active participation and unwavering enthusiasm throughout this program. It's your dedication that has made these days so rewarding and fulfilling. Let's reconvene tomorrow, regenerated and ready to embark on another day of transformative learning. Kindly note, the feedback link of today's sessions have already been shared in the chat box as well as on WhatsApp group. Kindly fill the same and submit. So wishing you all a wonderful day ahead and see you bright and early on day 4. Signing off for today. Goodbye.